So we have to be clear, the decision to postpone the elections was made by the Election Commission and not necessarily by the government. We've known for some time that the government has not been keen on holding these provincial elections because it believes that all elections, whether provincial or national, should be held at the same time, perhaps in October. We have to remember that Imran Khan, the chairman of the PTI party, decided to dissolve two provincial assemblies where he had the majority in an attempt to force government to hold national elections a few months before they are supposed to be held later this year. I think the government believes, and probably the military establishment also believes, that they should not allow Mr. Khan to dictate how the country is governed, who governs it, when the elections are held. But they are in a bind because the constitution is clear. When provincial assemblies are dissolved, the election has to be held in 90 days. The government was dragging its feet, and then we saw the Supreme Court getting itself involved in this bickering, and then giving a very clear ruling that the election has to be held. And that's when we saw the Election Commission propose April 30th as the likely date for Punjab elections. But now that the Election Commission has gone back. It has given several reasons for it, and these are very practical reasons. But Mr. Khan is not buying any of it. He's saying he dissolved these assemblies because he wanted to force the government to hold national election. If he's not getting his way, he's going to accuse the government of violating the constitution and also possibly contempt of court. The postponement of Punjab Assembly elections by the Election Commission could potentially create a constitutional crisis because the Supreme Court apparently is sympathetic to Imran Khan's point of view. It believes the election need to be held. There's a clear ruling to that effect, but the government doesn't necessarily agree to it. And there's a sense that the military establishment is also not keen on holding two separate elections, one in April and the national election in October. Clearly, there is a divide and there is a disconnect. This is precisely what Mr. Imran Khan wanted, because he wants the affairs of the governance and affairs of the state to be paralyzed. He's putting himself in the center of all of it. He believes that because of his popularity, he can force his will, but the government is not budging, and the government is standing its ground. It is in the process of being accused of violating the constitution, not abiding by the Supreme Court. I think now the ball is in the Supreme Court. We will have to see how the Supreme Court reacts to the postponement of Punjab Assembly elections. If it is going to hold anyone in contempt of court, will that be the Election Commission, its members? Will it be the government? So we are in sort of uncharted territory as always, but we have to wait to see how the Supreme Court reacts to this, what course of action it will take. For its part, the government has requested the Supreme Court to rethink or review its earlier decision. So, it's anyone's guess. I think the situation will become clear in the next 24 to 48 hours. Well, this is, a political deadlock. It could be resolved by politicians like Imran Khan, the Prime Minister, Mr. Zardari, if only they were willing to sit down and negotiate. Now, the government has tried every now and then, but it's Mr. Khan who has consistently refused to engage his political opponents in any kind of dialogue. He sees it as a betrayal to his long-running campaign against corruption in the country. A lot of people have urged him, civil society members, independent analysts have urged him to show some flexibility, because that's what politics is all about. sometimes when there are bigger things at stake, you sit down against your sworn enemies and you learn to negotiate. He wants an early election. The government is saying the elections will be held as per the constitution on time in October. It is only really a matter of few months here and there. Clearly, politicians are capable of sitting down and sorting out the differences. That is the only political solution. If that doesn't happen because Mr. Khan isn't willing, or he's not ready, or he believes he doesn't need to negotiate because he's so popular, it creates more and more instability. And Pakistan, once again, can ill afford all of this at a time when its economy is in a meltdown. It is trying to avoid a default. Inflation is high. Security is terrible in the country. We are seeing, militants becoming active in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in Balochistan, striking in Karachi. So if our political leadership takes cognizance of these state of affairs, it can sit down, but the chances of it happening are very low.